You're obsessed with the finish line, the result, the reward, the trophy, the money, the status, the applause, the validation. You keep staring at the mountain peak while ignoring the climb. You want the crown, but you don't respect the weight of the crown. You want the success, but you don't fall in love with the work. And that's why most people quit. Because the outcome is slow. The reward is delayed. The results take time. The grind feels endless. So they lose patience. They lose belief. They lose consistency. They lose discipline. They lose identity. Not because they're weak, but because they're focused on the wrong thing. The outcome is a mirage. It looks close, but it's far. The process is the real battlefield. The early mornings, the late nights, the boring reps, the silent grind, the lonely discipline, the unseen work, the days with no progress, the weeks with no results, the months with no recognition. That's where men are built. Not at the finish line. In the fire. In the repetition. In the routine. In the monotony. In the discipline. In the suffering. In the consistency. Because outcomes don't build you. Processes do. Results don't shape you. Habits do. Success doesn't forge you. Struggle does. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. A lion doesn't think about the kill. It trusts the hunt. A soldier doesn't think about the medal. He trains for the mission. A warrior doesn't dream about victory. He prepares for battle. The process is the weapon. The process is the training ground. The process is the forge. The process is the identity builder. Every rep you do when no one's watching is building your nervous system. Every day you show up tired is building your discipline. Every time you choose work over comfort is building your character. Every time you move when you don't feel like it is building your dominance over self. The outcome is just a byproduct, a shadow, a side effect, a receipt. The process is the real achievement. Because the man who masters the process doesn't fear outcomes. He creates them over and over, again and again, because he knows, if I control my actions, results are inevitable. But if I chase results, I lose control of my actions. Outcome-focused men panic. They rush. They force. They skip steps. They look for shortcuts. They compromise standards. They chase hacks. They quit early. They burn out. They collapse. Process-focused men endure. They move slow. They move steady. They trust repetition. They respect structure. They build foundations. They compound effort. They become inevitable. There's a reason why discipline beats motivation. Motivation is emotional. The process is mechanical. Motivation fluctuates. The process stabilizes. Motivation depends on feeling. The process depends on action. And action builds identity. Identity builds consistency. Consistency builds mastery. Mastery builds results. You don't rise because you're inspired. You rise because you're structured. You rise because you're disciplined. You rise because you're conditioned. You rise because you're programmed. Every day you show up to the process, you're rewiring your mind. You're training your brain to associate effort with identity. Not results. Not praise. Not recognition. Not validation. Just work. Just action. Just movement. Just execution. That's dangerous. Because a man who loves the process cannot be stopped. You can delay him, but you can't defeat him. You can slow him, but you can't break him. You can doubt him, but you can't derail him, because he doesn't need results to move. He moves because that's who he is. He doesn't need motivation. He has structure. He doesn't need hype. He has discipline. He doesn't need applause. He has identity. The storm doesn't stop the mountain. The fire doesn't stop the forge. The pressure doesn't stop the diamond. The pain doesn't stop the warrior. The process doesn't care how you feel. It only responds to consistency. Repetition is power. Routine is power. Structure is power. Systems are power. Because systems outlast emotions. When motivation dies, systems carry you. When discipline fades, identity pulls you. When belief weakens, habits push you. That's why the process matters. Because it creates automatic progress. You move even on bad days. You train even on low days. You work even on heavy days. You build even on dark days. Not because you're strong, but because it's programmed, conditioned, embedded. Who you are. You stop asking, am I getting results yet? And you start asking, did I execute today? Did I show up today? Did I do the work today? Did I follow the system today? Because that's control. Outcomes are chaos. Processes are control. And men who control their actions control their future. Silence builds kings. Consistency builds empires. Repetition builds legends. Discipline builds monsters. The process builds gods. Not overnight. Not fast. Not flashy. Not viral. But permanently. Brick by brick. Day by day. Rep by rep. Hour by hour. Year by year. And one day, the outcome shows up. Quietly. Naturally. Inevitably. Not as a miracle. Not as luck. Not as chance. But as a consequence. Because you earned it. Because you built it. Because you became it. So stop chasing outcomes. Stop staring at results. Stop measuring your worth by progress. Stop tying your identity to success. Tie it to action. Tie it to discipline. Tie it to structure. Tie it to execution. Tie it to the process. Because the man who masters the process doesn't need to worry about the outcome. The outcome is coming. It has no choice. If this message lit a fire in you, then it's time to act. Drop this in the comments right now. I trust the process and execute daily, so that I know you stayed all the way till the end, and you will build unstoppable discipline and inevitable success.